So before we start, since today we're talking about what to teach new people to fitness, we're going to play a little game called Would You Teach This on Day One? All right. So, just yes or no, no nuance. I don't want a biomechanics lecture, just your raw, unfiltered instinct. All right. Day one with the new person, Wes Piatt. Would you teach the air squat?
Yeah.
All right. Blair?
Yes.
There we go. All right. What about the deadlift? Maybe with the PVC, barbell, whatever, kettlebell. Would you teach the deadlift on day one, Wes?
Yes.
Blair?
Yes.
What about running form? Or, people are come in here, they're heel striking like they're trying to, curb stomp the earth. Would you teach running form on day one, Wes?
I wouldn't be planned, but if I had somebody who ran a lot and I could give them that cue before they go back out and run again, then yeah, I teach it on day one.
All right. Blair, is that something you do day one with people? Teach them how to run?
Probably not. Probably not. I guess if somebody's a horrible technical runner, they probably hate everything about running. Yeah. And if I'm trying to educate them on running, they might not come back. They think, oh, we must do a lot of running here.
Yeah.
Good point.
For sure. Yeah. Here, welcome to something you hate. All right, rowing technique. Wes, you do rowing technique on day one?
Sure.
Blair?
Yeah, I would teach rowing on day one.
Man, I usually, when rowing, the first time I get them on the rower, I just have them play the fish game. And then that's it. That's it. I said, I'm not going to teach you technique. I just want you to play on this thing and see what it's like to pull the chain a little. And then the next time we actually talk about some form and technique stuff. All right. PVC thruster. You do a PVC thruster on day one, Wes?
Sure.
Blair?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Gymnastics kip. Wes, you teaching gymnastics kip on day one?
If it's appropriate for the person, yeah.
I said no nuance. Yes or no?
Oh, I'll say no.
All right. Blair?
You're saying like a kip swing on a pull-up bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about virtual shoveling? Wes, you do virtual shoveling on day one?
Never. I will never teach it. Go shovel outside.
That's right.
Blair?
We teach real shoveling on day one.
Real shoveling? You guys ever do the workouts with virtual shoveling?
Dude, Bill used to program that shit all the time. And every time I was like, God dang it.
It's hard.
Up and over the box.
I did it once in it was in a competition. It was in Denmark. And it was part of the competition. I can't remember what the rest of the workout was, but I mean, it was hard.
Well, that makes sense. Cause I did it when I very first started CrossFit. I did 100 days of main site, right? I was like, oh, I'm going to try this thing out. How do you try it? You got to really, and that was in the workout one day. And I remember it was so hard.
Yeah, they're so hard.
And it's also ridiculous. All right. 2-for-1 wall balls. Wes, you teaching 2-for-1 wall balls on day one? See someone just take it to the face or no?
Oh, no.
No, Blair?
No, we're going to pass on the 2-for-1 wall balls.
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorite CrossFit movements that we almost never do. It's my favorite movement to coach in class because when people get it, you see this light bulb go off and they enjoy it. And then everybody else is just getting hit. Yeah. You got to have the Band-Aids ready. All right. What about the classic CrossFit movement here, Wes? The butterfly GHD sit-up.
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, what is that?
I made it up.
Oh, okay. I was like, dude, this is getting out of hand.
All right. Real quick, talking about the day one things people hate. I know a guy. I'll tell you, it was Charlie. He said that because he's like, I learned from this. He's like, what I used to do with new people, they'd come try a class. And then he said he would just smoke them. And when they're laying on the floor, just completely obliterated, can't breathe, he'd look over and go, man, that was terrible, huh? You must be really out of shape. You need this. He said it was highly effective or it wasn't. And anyway, then he, got some more experience, learned, moved on from that. But I remember thinking, dude, could you imagine?
Have you ever heard Austin Begeebing's story with Jason Khalipa and the 100 GHC sit-ups?
No.
Oh my God. So they used to work in a Globo gym together back in the day. and they started doing CrossFit. So they started making all their PT clients do CrossFit. And they had this old guy, he's probably in his 70s, one day come in, main site, 100 GHD sit-ups. They're like, we're doing 100 GHD sit-ups.
Oh,
And
God.
this it's like 70-year-old dude did 100 GHD sit-ups with probably the worst form ever, back in the day.
Yeah.
He walks back in the next day and they're all standing there like waiting for him to come in, and he sees them and he turns around and walks the other direction. He's like, never again am I going to ever be with you guys.
Lost a CrossFitter for life. He's never trying it again.
I think they said he was all bent over too. He was like walking in because he was so sore and like
Oh man.
That's
Absolutely
aggressive,
brutal.
dude. 100 GHD sit-ups. That's tough.
yeah, it was so funny because like no, it was I forgot it was Jason that did it actually. And because Austin came around the corner and saw this guy doing, and Austin's like, oh, and Jason's all 100 for time, bro.
All proud of himself.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm sure I did something like that too back in the day.
oh,
yeah.
there, yeah, inevitably.
Oh, I mean, I love Jason, but he must have been a terrible personal trainer.
Oh.
Just
He
all
just
effort.
smoke you
Yeah,
every
just-
time.
it's the live and learn thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's dude, there's something there for sure. Wes, what's the last workout you did?
I did deadlifts, 5, 5, 3, 3, 1, 1, 1,
There you go. What'd you get to?
415.
Oh, but man, adult weight.
Oh yeah, thanks for saying that, man. Because I felt really bad about that. I was really
Hey,
bummed.
Look, dude, I don't care what movement you're doing. If you end up with double body weight on the bar, like it's pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know. What about Blair? What's the last workout you did?
Today it was a 30-minute EMOM. The first 15 minutes, one snatch. The second 15 minutes, one clean.
And the goal is to never take weight off the bar. Is that how that goes?
No, the goal was just build to a heavy on each. So
Yeah.
I got to 215 on the snatch and 275 on the clean.
Yeah, there you go.
So not quite adult weight, but
215, bro, is legit.
Yeah, 215 is pretty good. And so I just like I said, double body weight. But I think when you talk about the snatch, we've said this one other time in this show, but as long as if you're snatching over body weight, then you know what you're doing. Like nobody just grabs a bar and snatches their body weight if they don't know what's going on,
Yeah.
So it's goal one. We did yesterday, the class workout was fun. It was 30 burpees, row 600 meters, 30 burpees for time.
Ouch.
I loved it. It also me up. I was like
I would still be messed up.
Yeah, well, one of our coaches, I was gonna kind of go through the motions a little bit. And then one of our coaches did the class before me because I was like, "Who's gonna do under 6 minutes? Anyone gonna break 5 minutes? Like that'd be really painful." Anyway, and she did 5:30 or 5:25, and I was like, "God, now I feel like I gotta try." And anyway, yeah, it was 5:11, and it hurt. It was I didn't want to do the last 11 burpees. I just didn't want to do. And then at that point, you're just you're in it. There's no slowing down,
Well, It's tricky because you think you can sprint it. So you try to sprint it, but it's definitely too long to hold your max pace.
Dude, what if it was 30, 250, 30?
Yeah. Then you could sprint it.
Or 30, 250, 15 even. That would be awful. Oh my God.
Man. Yeah. Well, the 600 meter row was not great because it was 100 meters longer than you're used to sitting down for, And so,
just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah. Anyway, highly encouraged if you're looking for something to do that's going to take you, 6 minutes and have you coughing for the rest of the day.
I feel like those workouts got progressively worse as we went on.
Yeah. All right, with me today, two guys who have onboarded more CrossFitters than Rogue has shipped barbells. We have Blair Morrison, a 3 times CrossFit Games athlete, affiliate owner, the NorCal Classic mastermind, and the best CrossFit athlete who actively tries not to work out inside of a gym. Also, we have Wes Piatt, CrossFit Redshirt Games athlete, affiliate owner, coach of coaches, and the man whose on-ramp begins with a deep conversation about living in the space between stimulus and response. Your first homework is mindfulness. We'll do squats later. And I'm Danny Lehr from Caffeine and Kilos, gym owner, coffee dealer, and your friendly moderator who's going to ask for your opinion and then tell you why it's wrong. Okay. Uh, One more little lightning round here to know how you think. What is the best, since we talked about day one movements, what is the best day one movement? Deadlift or push up? Blair, you go first this time.
The best day one movement?
Yep. Deadlift or push up?
Oh, deadlift for sure.
Wes?
Deadlift.
No one needs to know how to do push-ups. Interesting. All right. I feel like people get off the ground more. I don't know. I guess they pick stuff up a lot. All right. Most
No,
annoying.
it's not about that. It's because a deadlift is a way sexier movement. Like you want somebody to like get involved and be excited. You can teach them all these things about a deadlift with a PVC pipe. And then, I mean, it's got way more legs.
And I
Interesting.
immediately go to like emergency response, and I'm like, I need you to be able to pick up something off the ground if it's hurt or it's like needs to be moved or
I
Yeah.
need you to carry me.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, deadlift, you can use something like a kettlebell or whatever weight. And if they're not used to doing things with weights, they like feel like they're doing something, like they're
Yeah,
moving an
exactly.
implement. I will say push-ups though is you take something they think they know how to do and you explain to them that they're doing it entirely wrong. You teach them a new way, right? The problem is that sometimes that feels worse until you get used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Worst first or most annoying first day question. My doctor said I shouldn't squat that low, or if I get too bulky, can I stop? Blair, what's more annoying?
The bulky one.
All right, Wes.
I think the doctor one, because I just get mad when doctors are idiots.
Yeah. The bulky one's not a problem because you can just be like, yeah, fair enough, because like it's not going to happen. So, would you rather coach someone who's never been to a coach class, or someone who did CrossFit 8 years ago for 6 months at a gym that taught faster is always better and treated range of motion like a suggestion?
The person that's never been to class before.
Wes?
Yeah, same. But the other one sounds fun to work with.
Yeah, if they get it, you know what I mean. If you
Yeah,
get it,
if they're able to put the ego away, and it'd be fun.
All right. Sorry. Now that we've established moral compasses, let's move on. So CrossFit has the 9, right? The holy 9, the 9 movements HQ decided in 2001 were the foundation of functional fitness forever. We have the squat, front squat, overhead squat, press, push jerk, deadlift, sumo deadlift, high pull, which catches a ton of hate, and the med ball clean. Are these really the best movements for beginners? Or are we teaching people how to do med ball clean before they know how to hinge, plank, row, run? So here's the real question. What should be in an on-ramp with new people? Is it the 9 movements? Is it the real life stuff, picking things up? Or is the 9 just CrossFit's version of algebra? Foundational, important, but useless unless you don't know how to count to 10 first. So big picture, are they the most important things that what new people need to know? Do the 9 fundamental movements still represent what a beginner needs to understand when first starting CrossFit? So Wes, talk about those 9 fundamental movements. Are they relevant, or are they just legacy things that we use because it's what we've always done?
No, they're totally relevant, and they help somebody go from being either not functional, and what we mean by that is not able to wake your way through daily life, to being functional by learning those movements. So you can go from not being able to take something from your ground to overhead to being able to do that and knowing how to do it safely. And that's, in my opinion, the most important thing that we do.
What do you think, Blair? Those 9 movements, are those still the the core of everything that we do, or do you think they're maybe a little outdated?
I mean, I think most of them are good, but I think there's redundancy in there. And then if I were
Explain.
well, I mean, I think you can categorize the squat, the 3 different squats as that's a squat category, and then you have the deadlift kind of as like your hinging category, and all the overhead stuff as your pressing category. But there's nothing on there where people are hanging from something, right? Which I think is fundamental. So I like to incorporate that when we do on ramp is something they're either doing a ring row or they're doing dead hangs on a pull-up bar, but they have some sort of grip and like hanging, supporting their body weight. And that kind of leads towards a pull-up. I like the way CrossFit teaches the progressions, especially the pressing one, the press, push, jerk. I mean, we use that all the time. I think it's just absolute gold. But we rarely use sumo high pulls except in Fight Gone Bad. So I would not call that like a fundamental, like, foundational, instead, a foundational movement. There's other things that I think you could teach to basically get yourself to do cleans. I like the Bergner clean progression better. So if we're going to go into the med ball clean or the sumo high pull as kind of ways to build that movement pattern in, like the quarter extremity movement pattern, I would lean more towards the Bergner progression, the jump shrug, high pull, muscle clean, power clean. And then the last thing I think is missing is I think there should be some sort of like mobility like discussion with your on ramp. So I like the what do you call them? The core nine? What do they call them?
Yeah, it's the 9 fundamental movements, right? It's the
Yeah. So I like I said, I like the squat as a category, dead as a category, press as a category, then something hanging, and then something about range of motion. I mean, not range of motion, but mobility, like addressing injury. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
people come in with latent stuff, sore stuff, like
totally.
spend a day or an hour dedicated to like, well, how do we basically address this so you feel a little bit better?
You mentioned hanging early on, like that was one of the first things you said. So if you look at that pyramid of movements, gymnastics is below weightlifting, I believe, like more of a base structure than weightlifting within that. So, Wes, how do you feel about that as far as, are we just kind of off base here, even trying to compare them or say one thing's more or less important? Or do we think that oftentimes new people should maybe spend a little more time on the gymnastic stuff, body weight stuff before getting into those 9 fundamental movements? Do we just do the 9 fundamental? I guess my question is, do we just do those 9 fundamental movements early with people because we want to get a barbell in their hands and that feels good? Or would we be better served by working some more hanging movements in gymnastics first?
I think the answer is yes to all of it. And it depends on the person that you're working with. The way that we do our on ramps here is that we don't go through the 9 foundational movements and teach them because they're not going to remember any of that stuff, honestly. Like they might remember a couple things here or there. We actually use our on ramp as a diagnostic tool. We're looking for imbalances and we're looking for their lifestyle choices and we're getting in bodies and we're actually just kind of like creating key metrics to start with so that we can look back on and be like, look at the progress you've made. Like your head tilt when you first started was like this and you were kyphotic, and now look at you when I took a picture of you, like you're more upright, and look at your hips, they're more in balance. So we do that. And I think that the idea behind like gymnastics, go back to your actual question of like, hey, gymnastics and then weightlifting, like, yeah, you got to be able to move your body through space before I expect you to move an external object and your body through space. Like, show me that you have proprioception, you know where your knees are and you know where your elbows are before I have you try to lift something that could end up injuring you at some point. I mean, that's hyperbole because, we'd start with a PVC pipe and something so light that they wouldn't get injured. But yeah, I think it is important to have gymnastics before weightlifting. And I think that the 9 foundational movements do really set you up for success. But I hear what Blair's saying about the hanging stuff, which I think is important, which is why at the level 1, we do teach the kipping pull up and the hang and stuff, but it's just not part of the 9 foundational movements. It's a progression that's kind of over here. And we're saying like, look, it is still important, but these are still our foundational movements that we can teach with just a PVC pipe or a broomstick. You don't even need a pull-up bar or anything to hang from. So I get the theory behind it all and the why behind it all for sure. But I definitely still agree with everything that you guys are saying. Like, yeah, let's get that in there. Let's get that in there. And it's all good.
So what we do for our on ramps is we do go over those 9 movements, but we don't do them all in one session. Right. And so we actually break it up, honestly, over 3 sessions. It's like, okay, so day 1, we do the first one of all of them. Like I'll do an air squat, a deadlift, and a strict press. And then we do some ring rows or some hanging. Right. And we kind of do a few other things. And then it's like day 2, we'll do, quick review of the air squat, and then we'll do a front squat. And then we'll quick review of the deadlift, and we'll do a sumo deadlift high pull, and so on. And then we'll add in some kettlebell swings and some box jumps and play the fish game on the rower, right? Just kind of touch base on most of the things that they're going to do. So when they show up to, when they go to a regular class, it's like, oh, I'm familiar with these types of things, whatever, right? I go, man, you were talking about the sumo deadlift high pull. I've gone in circles about it. I just kind of landed on, we don't do it very often in workouts and stuff, but I do think it's good for teaching the whole core to extremity idea, right? And I think that that's really, you talk about these 9 fundamental movements. I think their biggest benefit is sure the movements themselves, but it's about being able to teach the principles, right? And so I do little like lessons. I'm like, hey, look, like we've got like day one, I'm like, we got principles in here, right? And like these are the rules, and like one of them is core to extremity. What does that mean? And kind of explain what it means. And then I'm like, all right, now we're gonna do an air squat. Make sure we're gonna brace first before we do it, right? Like brace for midline. And then we do that. And then everything we do, I just bring it up. I'm like, oh, hey, look, core to extremity. You want to make sure you do this. Another thing we talk about is full range of motion. Everything we do, we're striving for full range of motion, right? And so then everything we're doing is like, how low do you go? Well, as low as you can go, maintaining a tight midline. And, like, so that's the whole thing is, right? It's like as far as you can while everything else is correct. And we just kind of hammer those home. If you had to delete one movement, of those 9, which one goes? I know Blair said sumo high pull. So Wes, what about you? If you had to rip one of those 9 out, which one would it be?
Definitely not the air squat, the deadlift, or the press. I would keep those. I like the push jerk because it teaches them to pull underneath an object. So maybe that get rid of the push press because I could teach that another way. I don't know, man. That's a tough one because I really like the sumo deadlift high pull. I think it actually like when I was in the military and a firefighter, I use the sumo deadlift high pull all the time to get stuff onto things and to like move things and to constantly do. So I really think it is very beneficial. I would probably get rid of the med ball clean.
Yeah.
And I would keep the sumo deadlift high pull for the core to extremity principle patterns and learning how to use those and go through full range of motion. And I think you could transfer that into a muscle clean, which could turn into a cleans. And you kind of, could use the med ball clean as more of a specialized thing for people that really shouldn't be maybe touching a barbell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the med ball clean is the best way to teach people change the direction of their hips and how to do a clean. But what I am sure is that it's a damn good exercise. You know what I mean? Like they're hard, man. Like they're fun in workouts.
They will smoke you. That is for sure.
So like, do those belong in the 9? I'm not sure if those belong in the 9 movements, just as far as like the other ones, you see the clear progression, like teach a squat. Okay, I see a front squat other than a back squat because that's going to apply to so many other things, a clean and just, there's other things involved with having a front rack position, right? It's really more about teaching the front rack position than anything. And the overhead squat, kind of same deal. But then, when you get into like the med ball clean, I'm just like, I just don't know. It's great exercise, but like I think teaching a hang clean, like a hang squat clean with a barbell or whatever, or PVC, I probably get more out of that than like a med ball clean, right?
Yeah, and like at the level 1, we teach the PVC pipe snatch, right? Then we go through kind of like a version of the Bergner progression, but there's a couple pieces taken out. We could do the same with the PVC pipe there too, and just be like, hey, just move your grip in, right?
Yeah. Blair, are you hearing Wes okay? Sometimes he's kind of like pop in a little bit for me. I don't know if this is just on my end.
No, I hear him straight through.
All good.
Yeah.
And the recording of it too is all 3 are recorded individually, and so it shouldn't be a problem. Then just make sure. All right. Okay. So what do we think about that idea? I actually brought it up on accident early. Is with those movements and with these on-ramps, are we teaching principles disguised as movements more than we're worrying about the actual movements? Do we think that's maybe a big part of this, or is it really more? It's more not that complicated. Really, it's like, nah, man, you should be able to press a barbell, and you need to know how to squat. Blair, what are your thoughts on that? Is it more of the principles, or is it like not like don't overthink it, man? Like, nah, you need to be able to do these things.
I mean, I think the principles are in there. I think they choose the movements because they're core to extremity and they're like very common and functional, right? That's like the CrossFit bedrock.
Yeah.
But I don't think coaches coach the principles deliberately. I think the principles are kind of like imbued in the movements. And so they're going to be like referred to later on, like, hey, the core to extremity, like what we see with the, with your push press, you like dip and drive and your hips go first and then the bar moves. I do think most coaches are and should be working on the movement pattern because that's what the person's going to understand. I think sometimes we can geek out on the like the philosophy of stuff,
Sure.
right? And the ideology of stuff. But for your average new member that's going through on-ramp, they need to be able to focus and kind of later on reflect on what they felt. Like what were the movements I was doing? Like how did it feel? Why did it work? What did I learn? And not get too in the weeds on the other stuff.
Yeah. Wes, you got anything to add there?
Nope.
There it is. Yeah. Me either. That's exactly it. What do beginners struggle with the most, Wes? What do beginners struggle with the most when they come in and they're just getting started?
Depends on the person. I think what I see most of the time is like mobility restrictions, not being able to get into a position that's actually safe because they're just too tight, sitting in a chair too much, driving too much, all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of having to unglue them.
Which joint do you see is the most glued typically?
QLs and psoas.
Oh,
The hips.
ankles.
Ankles.
Let me see them ankles.
Nah,
I
dude,
got a crappy ankle.
Dude, you tell someone to squat 9 out of 10 times, in my experience anyway, and this is hyperbole probably, but like whatever, more often than not, I think if someone can't get below parallel and maintain a midline, like a natural curvature of the spine, it's usually not their hips. A lot of times I find it's because their ankles are so tight, their knees just like they can't keep their heels down and get their knees forward. Like their shins are just vertical. It's like, dude, hold your shins vertical and try and do a squat. Like it's hard. You know what I mean? You got to get real wide. And that's
I agree with that. I would say we always say that the gateway to a perfect squat is the ankle joint, right? Because you just give somebody a heel lift and all of a sudden most of those people can do a really good looking squat. But I will say that I'm surprised by how many people that I think can't squat all of a sudden drop down into like a really good looking squat. People that are untrained, they don't have muscle restricting them. I find like a lot of people that can't squat are the ones that are actually pretty active. Like they run a lot, but their calves are super tight, or they're type A and they sit in a desk all the time, but they also like do leg press or something, and they just don't have like the tissue is tight. But I definitely see, I feel like it's in general for me, the one I see the most is something involving the hip. Like people think their back is tight, they got chronic back soreness, but it's their psoas, because they sit and so then you don't really, I don't know, you don't see it right away. That's a tough one because you don't always see it. You hear about what they feel, and then you have to lay on this ball.
Unless they tell you that they're like a runner and usually run 10 miles a day and ran marathons. I'm like, oh, so your hip flexor is going to be so damn tight. You're not going to be able to maintain a midline in a squat for about 2 years, but you can do it. It's just going to take some work, What's the most underrated beginner skill? Is it bracing, hinge mechanics, something, or maybe in the actual workouts at pacing? Do they ever just go out too hard? If you want to consider that a skill, in general, Wes, what's the most underrated beginner skill that it's like, if I could get every beginner in here and get them to get this one thing down pat, and that'll set them up for success, what would that one thing be?
Sleep and nutrition.
We're talking about exercise here. No one gives a shit about vegetables today.
If I could, I feel like I just want to inject, the zone diet and some good sleep into you. That would be awesome. But, yeah, I think it's I don't know. I want to hear what Blair has to say about this actually, because sure. I'm on the fence.
I am, like I just said it. I'm so stoked when I see somebody that just walks in and knows how to squat. Yeah. Like it's intuitive to them. Their body mechanics work right. Because I feel like squatting transfers the best to all of the quote unquote dangerous stuff that CrossFit does. Sure. And so if somebody has like a good mechanical squat to begin with, and you don't have to like fight it, that makes me really happy. So I would go with that.
I'll jump into, while you're still thinking about it, Wes, is bracing. Like if I can get someone to understand how to like brace their midline before they do other stuff, then that makes everything better, right? As far as like overhead, because then if they flare up, they're like, hey, and they know like, boom, pull the ribs down before they squat. I feel safer loading, like putting a barbell on their back if I know that they're going to brace their midline. same thing, even in whatever, like jumping pull-ups, I would like them to, have, if they're lowering slowly, I'd like them to have some sort of a, if not a full on like hollow position, have some sort of midline stability instead of just flopping all over. If I get someone to learn how to brace their midline early on, or if someone can do it early on, that makes a huge difference.
That made me just think of something like, how cool is it when you get somebody who walks in who's a total beginner but has like 10 years of gymnastics like in their back pocket?
Yeah. Even if
like
they were 10.
Say, I did gymnastics as a kid. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. They jump up on the bar and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny, it's not even like as older. They're like, oh yeah, like I stopped when I was 9, but I did it from like 3 years old till 9. I'm like, oh, you're going to be just fine.
That would be a close second for me. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, what do you think now?
Yeah, I was on the fence between like a squat or core to extremity movement patterns, actually, because I know I like what you said midline, but if you think of core to extremity movement patterns, it starts with midline, right? And then it kind of radiates out from there. And so I was like, that's also nuanced. I think I would go with probably what Blair said, with like, if I get somebody that walks in and they could just drop into a full range of motion, deep and balanced squat, I'm like, oh, we can do some stuff here. This is going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It does make you worry about a lot less.
Yes,
when that happens,
totally.
You're like, okay, so they can get in any position I'm going to need them to get into, and I don't have to worry about. But you
see them walk in with that vertical shin, immature squat, and you're like, okay, we're going to have to, like you said, be really careful with a lot of other movements here and stuff. So yeah, totally right. Yeah.
How much fitness literacy do people need before you hand them a barbell? Or is it like, here, take this, I'll take it from here?
I don't know. I don't know if they need a lot of fitness literacy, because I think sometimes people that are scared of the bar are easier to coach, but it's the people that think they know what they're doing, but actually don't. So I guess those people are also illiterate. So that's,
yeah.
Oh man. I don't know. That's a good question. I tend towards, I like people having an empty bar in their hand, a PVC pipe or an empty bar, because I like the idea that they can feel accomplished and that we can teach them something on the first day. I guess I would say as long as it's empty, they don't need any literacy. But as soon as it starts getting loaded, then we might have a problem.
And it feels cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not against using a PVC pipe at times for certain things. But it's like they come in day one and they spend 45 minutes and it's all body weight in a PVC pipe. You learn some stuff and maybe you got real tired at one point, but you're looking around, there's barbells, also there's stuff going on. Get your hands on that steel. I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that it's about more reps, right? Like when I was a first responder in the military, it was like, we need to get this thing in your hands and have you use it so that you get better at it. And yes, it's scary at first, but of course it's only going to be scary if you don't go towards it. So I think that, yeah, we got to get it in their hands.
I think comfort level of the coach has something to do with this as well. I know personally, like if I'm teaching someone to snatch or clean, like I don't want a PVC anywhere near me. Like I feel like it's more difficult because there's no feedback, right? The front rack position, people really struggle in the front rack position with the PVC pipe. And sometimes if you can, you do some mobility, like you're talking about, Wes, get their shoulders loosened up. Because usually it's not the wrist. Everyone thinks my wrist hurt. It's like, well, no, it's because your elbows aren't high enough. It's like your wrist hurt because your wrist angle is because your elbows are down because your shoulders are right. So it's like, let's address the shoulders and your lats and get your elbows up and your wrists are fine, right? But yeah, I if it's snatch, clean, and jerk, I want an empty bar, even if it's like the 15-pound training bar, whatever. They get the feedback from it. If it floats away from them, they really feel that because it starts pulling them around. I find it's actually easier to teach snatch, clean, and jerk with a barbell than PVC.
No, that's a really good point. The idea of jumping or extending the hips against the PVC pipe is really hard. People don't get it right. But once they have the bar and there's a little bit of weight on them, now their arms can hang straight and it works better. So I think that's a good call.
Which arguably is one of the benefits of teaching the med ball clean as one of the foundational movements is you have something light in your hands. You can really feel like the extension right before going underneath it, I guess. But again, I would say you could do the same thing with the barbell, right? Like that's kind of the full circle there. Where do running, rowing, carries fall, right? Like we've been talking a lot about barbell stuff, talking a little bit about like positioning, bracing, gymnastics type stuff. Where do we fall on the running, rowing, that type of stuff? Because I feel as though um, lately we've been spending a lot more time on things like running and rowing technique because we really kind of shifted back to just doing one workout and like teaching more, having more time in class to go over progressions and technique on these kind of other things. But I feel like a lot of times that's not the way it goes. And we've been guilty in the past of this ourselves. Like, hey, there's running in the workout. You almost like don't even talk about it, right? Like it's like, hey, let's worry about these other 2 or 3 things. So, yeah, and then you go run 400, come back in and do some other stuff, right? So is there a time, or is it maybe not that big of a deal? Just the rowing, running, is that all kind of they'll figure it out over the time as they go, or is that something they think people should spend a little more time on earlier on? Wes, you can go first.
If you don't teach them, they're not going to know. So you got to teach them.
You gotta let them know.
Point. But I think if they don't know, how are they going to know? You got to let them know. I think the running and the carrying stuff is really important to teach them, because I think that like they're going to go and hang out with friends and go on a run or a jog, or they're going to go play with their kids, or they're going to go do whatever. And like, that's going to happen a lot more often. And I think carrying is so good for you too, to learn how to carry different objects in different positions, and to also learn that there's like certain degrees that you can go outside of a neutral midline and actually still be safe, and how to do that and stuff. And I think rowing is actually really easy to teach. You get somebody on there and you're like, push and pull. Okay, now relax. Okay, now do it again. And if they have some proprioception, they usually get it pretty quick. But I have seen the people that on the rowers, like, you're like, what is happening here? Why can't you get this? And that's more my fault as a coach of not having a better cue or a better way to distill this down in a way that they understand that it is their fault, right? But I would put an emphasis on the running and the carrying over the rowing.
Also, I feel like, honestly, like people talk about injuries and stuff. I mean, running's got to be like the worst thing for people as far as like getting hurt and just whatever, like ankles, knees. And if you're heel striking, it's like all the pounding, especially with people that are overweight, they're in there trying to lose weight, doing this thing.
That's what I'm talking about. You see it all the time. You look at people running on sidewalks, they're like 300 pounds. And I'm like, that's 3 to 5 times your body weight of vibrational forces going through you every step that you're taking.
Do you tell them? Do you roll down your window and tell them?
Hey, that's 3 to 5 times your
vibrational force that's going through.
Yeah.
Midfoot. Land on your midfoot.
Yeah, it's really hard, but running is hard on you. Like, I went through a phase where I was going to do ultra marathons is what I wanted to get into, and away from CrossFit a little bit. And I was more beat up than I ever was competing and working out like 5 hours a day. Like, I felt awful when I was putting in miles on the pavement. It was hard on my body.
Yeah, totally. I love it when people row and the rower starts the end of the workout. That's like a full mat further back than when it started. And I'm like, what in your technique is making this row? Like you're actually in a boat. Like you're crossing the sea with this thing, It's like they just lean back and just drive through their feet and it just jerks, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh man, my wife does it.
Hey, let's I'm not saying anything,
She's not my I'm like, bud, you got to fix that. And he's like, no, but we're neighbors. He's like, I'm not getting on her bad side. Yeah. He's like, I'll say it once. If she doesn't do it, that's fine. He's like, it's safe. It's not dangerous. But, all right. Well, now let's get into the kind of the business side of things. Culture, does your on-ramp match your gym? I'm guessing go over this first. Like, do you have a on-ramp program, or someone wants to sign up? You just get them in a class. Let's rock and roll. Wes, what's your route on that at Coast Range CrossFit?
Depends on the person. If they have experience and they're pretty coachable and they're moving well and they don't want to do an on-ramp, then we'll coach them through classes. That's totally fine. But if they're new, and we usually allow them to do a couple free classes, and so we get an idea of how they move when we talk to the other coaches. And if they're not moving well, we'll actually tell them that they need to do an on-ramp. And then we take them through like a 3-day assessment, basically.
So with those, do you do those as personal training, or do you have special on ramp classes for that? And how many sessions on average or is there a set number of sessions they get?
Yeah, it's 3 sessions and it's done on whatever coach and their schedule we can make fit.
Yep. Blair, what does that look like with you?
Well, we've done this a couple of different ways over the years. Um, Originally, we did like weekend on ramps where we would try to get anybody who is new to come on a weekend. That did not work very well because
Wow, I'm
schedules were bad.
surprised.
Then I created a secondary class at like 6:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. That was like the on-ramp hours. So if you were new, you would show up at one of those 2 times, and you would do this sequential sequence, like 5 in a row. Or if you missed one, you come pick it up the next week, and you would get through squat, dead, press, pull up, mobility, stuff like that. And then most recently, this is probably maybe 5 years ago, we shifted to a foundations class at every hour of the day. So we have 2 workouts programmed at the gym. There's one that's like our CrossFit workout, and then we have one that's a foundations workout, so that somebody new could roll straight in and do kind of like an on-ramp style workout where the skill is always like the one of the base movements. So they're learning that. And then the workout's always something body weight, low skill, running carries, like that kind of stuff. And that's been working really well because we never have to tell anybody no. But there's also somewhere for the coach to put them on a day like today where it's like, all right, we're doing 1 rep max snatch, 1 rep max clean and jerk, and somebody walks in for the first time, like, actually, you're going to do the foundations class, which is, step ups, ring rows, yeah, blah blah blah, whatever it is. So that's what we do now. It's nice, and it doubles for us as like another option for people in our regular classes. Like, you know what? Actually, I want to do the foundations workout today because I'm feeling beat up, and this is more my jam type thing. So that's how we run it.
Yeah. So one thing that is interesting that we do that I wish I would have done more of earlier is we do some one-on-ones, and then we actually send them off to class for 2 weeks. And then we come back and have one more session after they've gone to class for 2 weeks. And that's kind of like, all right, like, what did you do in class? You have no idea what the hell's going on.
That's
or
cool.
like, or what was hard, or maybe everything was fine. Like, what do you want to know more about? Sometimes
so
people will come
questions.
back. Yeah. And they'll be
that's
like,
a good idea.
actually, we did some cleans. Those were hard. Can we do more of that? We're like, yep, sounds good. For the next hour, we do snatch, clean, and jerk. Or sometimes they'll be like, I really want to work on pull-ups. I knew it's okay, great. And so it kind of gives them some time to go to class, figure out what is good, bad, struggle, whatever. Anyway, that's just a little wrinkle that we've done that's been kind of a cool thing. People really enjoy it, Also, then it keeps the coach a little more accountable to follow up. Have they been going to class for these 2 weeks? Because that's something I do worry about sometimes is someone doing their on ramps, then it's time to go to class and they're all nervous and, the whole thing. And so being able to know they're going to meet back up, I think helps.
Yeah, that's clever. I like that.
Yeah, I really like that. We might implement that actually.
Yeah. So I think it's it. So, on ramps look different for every gym. I think kind of is a big part of culture, whatever works for people, getting them in. I think the number one thing is getting them comfortable and getting them to go to class. And, sometimes a little extra help and some movement prep really helps that. I also think it depends on what program you're running. If you are doing, 2 pieces in every single class, you don't have a lot of time for progressions and teaching, and on ramps going to be a lot more important. If you're running, kind of more of a 1 piece plus maybe some, accessory work, if there's time left, mobility stuff, I'm not so sure the on ramps are as necessary as maybe a lot of people think they are, if that's how you run your class and you actually do go through progressions of every single movement, but that's not necessarily reality. So I think getting people also, a lot of people start, and that's a question. Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. What do you have for beginners? And you can say till you're, red in the face or whatever, like, oh, don't worry. In every class, we go over everything. That's not really what people want to hear sometimes, right? Especially if they're signing up for this thing that's, not super cheap. And if they're going to be signing a 12-month contract, knowing that someone's going to, tell them what the hell's going on, I think is beneficial, right?
Well, dude, the reality is that not every coach can handle like a brand new person mixed in with
Yeah.
a bunch of experienced people if the workout is really complex. Like I have no questions that either you guys could have a class of 15 people, two of which are brand new, and you could make sure that they do a snatch and a clean and jerk on day one and be safe. But it's pretty nice to have like a fallback position for if you don't have your most experienced coach there. And now, I mean, obviously safety is the number one thing. You really don't want someone getting hurt on the first day, but you also don't want them to feel like overwhelmed on the first day because the coach is like scattered and like struggling. Like that's not a good look either. So, I mean, I think it's really smart for a gym to have a fallback position that they can just funnel people into something that's going to be very, very comfortable, and not just for them, but for the coach too, whoever that is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it when they do come into class. Okay. Say it's a busy class too. You walk in and you've got, it's a class of 18 people and 5 of them are new. And so you have a newer coach and they got to manage this crew.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's
and
tough.
so a big part of the on-ramp is for the coaches as much as it is for the people. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's funny. The 3 of us, I'm sure, wouldn't really phase. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, we could have 18 people and half of them have never done anything. And I feel good about being able to teach that class and getting modifications and helping them out. But I've been doing this this is all I've done, right? I've done this for 20 years.
Doesn't it actually dial you up?
Oh, yeah, sure. Dude.
Like, we just had 2 drop-ins today that were brand new, and we had another one visiting from Montana, and it's like, oh, I'm on my stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. You get someone who does CrossFit somewhere else, and they walk in the door. You're like, I'm going to coach the shit out of this guy. Like, they're going to go back.
Your doors off right now, hopefully.
Yeah. Dude, these nips are going to be shaking. You know what I mean? We're getting it going. All right, here we go. Let's kind of wrap things up. Quick fire, rapid fire at the end. What is the more overrated beginner movement? Sumo deadlift, high pull, or med ball cleans? Wes, overrated. Blair?
I mean, are either of them overrated? Like, I don't know anybody that rates them high. Like,
there's the 2 things people hate on. I don't know, man.
I mean, I'll say med ball clean.
Med ball cleans. Oh man, you don't think anyone rates them high? I just told you I love. Okay.
Oh, I know so many people that would rate them very high.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure, definitely.
Man. All right.
I'm around purists, though. I'm around the seminar staff constantly. So
yeah. Okay. So I mean, seminar staff, they're going to rate them high, but if you go and like ask the average, you list off the 9 movements, like what are the bottom 2 for almost everybody out there? They're going to put those 2 at the bottom, right? Yeah. Not because they're bad, but just because the other ones are so great.
I'll admit, when I was putting together this episode, I was like, man, I like them all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit of a purist to a degree, and I've done other stuff, and I did the weightlifting, and I've been around people who, have other things to say. But it's like, I just see the benefit, like sumo high pull. Like, I see the benefit of the cord extremity and teaching that. And I think that's important, and it's like, it's a good way to teach it without it's just the opening of the hip. It's not the opening and the closing of the hip in rapid succession, which is what people get fumbled up on. Right. And so it's like, you don't have to worry about a muted hip. It's like, you just got to open it, Anyway, I see the clear, like, this leads to this, and the print. And even if it's not the specific movement, the principle of what you're teaching is important,
my biggest beef with the sumo high pull is that we don't do anything else with that foot position. It's extremely functional position, like in life, like what Wes was saying, like how would you get something up onto a high object? Like that's how you do it. Or like if you do like a stone lift or something like that, we get a wide foot. But like no other thing with a barbell does CrossFit like regularly use that foot position. So it's like, I think
that would be rad to come in. It's like sumo stance squats.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be dope, right? Everything.
I'll give you one more is that, so in warm-ups, sometimes we do that, Wes. It's like, oh, do some squats. Okay, now wide sumo stance, do some squats just to like
narrow,
put your feet together, do a squat, right? The other thing I will say, standard wise, they're like, what's the height? Like, how high does like, there's not a clear standard like there is in the other movements, right? Is it does the bar need to go like how high? Like somewhere between your nipples and your clavicles? Like, what is the like? But yeah, somewhere between. We got a target. We got a, you know what I mean? Like, we got a 6-inch like pull ups.
With your chin, like easy. Like when the bar racks, it's done.
Right, or like a pull up, your chin was over the bar or it wasn't. A deadlift, you're standing up or you're not. right? Like the top of a sumo deadlift height pool, like where's the, one time someone said nipple height, and then someone said, well, that changes based on gender and age. And then, but I explained to them that, well, if everyone just lays down, they're all going to be about the same spot. Regardless of age or gender, right? Things are going to go where they go, and it's going to be about the same height. Yeah. And so, but it's hard to implement that standard into class as well. So that's my only beef is it's kind of tough on like what is exactly the end of the movement, right? Like that's the thing. It's like, hey, as long as your elbows are above the bar, how high can you get it is kind of what we're going for here, right?
I'd still rather teach it than a bicep curl or tricep extension or something.
Dude, I don't have time for your logic bullshit. We're trying to find something to pick on, man.
I love it. Yeah, let's keep picking on it. Okay.
All right. Biggest issue on day one, bad ankles or bad knowledge? Wes?
Depends on the person.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. That's not Blair. Bad ankles or bad knowledge? Yeah.
Like if they're both bad, what's the worst problem to have?
Yeah.
Bad knowledge.
Wes?
Yeah, bad knowledge. Yes, definitely.
Man, you guys just don't know how to educate people. All right.
Thanks.
And
thanks for bringing me back to normal, Blair. Appreciate
that. Yeah. Harder to fix, a marathon runner's hip flexors or a desk jockey's concave shoulder girdle.
Ooh. We did a camp with Innovate one time, and all of their ultra runners came out, and we tried to put them through a CrossFit workout. Oh, it was like, wow. They could barely squat to a quarter depth. Honestly.
Like, how do they drive? Like, how do you get into a car?
Yeah, like this. They're just like, yeah, no, it was really, really, really hard actually to coach them. It was a long time ago. I wasn't that great of a coach, but it was really tough to coach them.
I think it's the concave shoulders that are harder to fix. I just don't know how to fix that. Like, it feels like the spine is like welded into that position. Yeah, whereas at least the hips, like there are some pretty good like stretches and lunging, anything getting like the the one hip extended like Kelly's always talking about. I mean they're both really tough.
I just break them and just put my back and
actually it's funny you say that. So from weightlifting stretch and stuff, because you got to be able to get overhead, for jerks, big determining fact for people. A really good stretch for that's not real comfortable is you have someone sit on a bench, and also you got to get close. You got to be comfortable with each other. You have them sit on a bench, the long ways, right? So they're just like sitting on like towards the end, whatever. And they put their hands behind their head, like they're getting arrested.
Oh,
yeah. And then you just got to come up. You come over the top. Yeah. Come over the top. And then your knee, though, this is the important part, the bench, because your foot goes behind him and your knee goes right between their shoulder blades. And then you can kind of like pull back their elbows and your knee. And it's not, I'll tell you what, man, you hold that on somebody for about 2 to 3 minutes. Their overhead position is drastically different.
Okay.
Right?
We did a bunch of that stuff at Power Monkey Camp with Dave Durante and the gymnastics stuff. And he would have you like arms overhead and like putting your arms through, just like digging your knees into their back. And you're just like, yeah. But like literally after like 30 seconds, you come out of that thing, you're like, oh my God, like that's way better for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot of those fixes aren't always the most comfortable way to go, but also, you got to do it regularly, right? Do it once, it feels better then, but the next day you're probably coming back in the same position. It's going to take, weeks of that to get it, but it's something that helps kind of break that up and get into that a little bit more.
I feel like I see more people that have genetically like the overhead position. Like it runs in the family, like they just, arms like
their
yeah, you're just like this is what we got, like, and like you like stretch it and their body goes it's just locked. So I don't know.
I'll give you a nature versus nurture on that, though. I think that's a product of the household they grew up in and the activities that they do or don't participate in, that they're in that position more so than genetic, right?
I don't know, man. When you watch like a kid run, you're like, you run like your mom. Like the knees go the same way. Nobody his mom definitely didn't teach him to run that way.
That's true. My younger daughter runs just like my wife, and
you can see it. You just see it. It's like imprinted.
Yeah, that's why I've been really focusing on teaching those two how to fight, because if someone's after them,
for not running.
They're getting caught.
You know, turning and facing, they're going to be better off. You know, it's kind of where that's at. No one wants to get tackled from behind. It's hard on the. All right. Better beginner workout, row and air squats. And by the way, I'm not, now that's twice now I've said something about my wife doing something wrong. She's actually in pretty good shape. Like, she's actually a great CrossFitter. It's just, anyway. All right. Everyone's got weaknesses, and we just happen to cover the only two she has. Okay. Better beginner work. Although she's not going to listen to this, so I don't know what I'm worried about anyway.
That's true.
Row and air squat or bike and deadlift? What's the better beginner first day workout?
I'd say row and air squat.
Yeah, row and air squat, bigger range of motion.
First thing today we've all agreed on. All right. And true or false, you're not really a CrossFitter until you've puked from workout.
False.
False.
Yeah, 100% false. When's the last time you threw up from a workout, Blair?
College football.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. I think it was us two. We did this one other time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been a long time. I avoid it. Like, if I feel it coming on, I just slow down. I'm like, well, I know
people back in the day used to throw up all the time. I feel like you'd like bring them in for a workout and they would just be out back puking. You're like,
yeah, dude. Again, back to early days teaching on ramps with this group on ramp and this workout. And it started with like a 200-meter run, and like it wasn't that tough of a workout. But these people, it's the first CrossFit workout they've done, and they just learned some stuff. And we would tell them like, hey, it doesn't look like a lot of reps. This is going to be harder than you think. And then someone would be thrown up in the bushes almost every time.
You can see it on their face. Like the color just changes.
And they're not sweating.
Yeah.
Right. But they're dying. And you're like, oh no, this isn't good. Your body does not regulate temperature.
Have I told you guys about Gail Hatch, his punishment he would do for his teams, for his weightlifting teams? So, Gail Hatch is of the Hatch Squat, Hatch Squat program and stuff. So Gail's in Louisiana. It's a little bit different, like still hit kids with sticks and stuff like that. Well, he believed in like not talking during training, right? Like, you don't talk. This is a weightlifting team. Like, we're here to lift weights. Like, shut up, grab the bar type thing.
Danny, you would have struggled.
I would not done well. It was the opposite at Cal Strength. That's like, no, just yell more. And anyway, so sometimes punishment for like talking is he would do what was called bucket eights. And so they would do sets of 8 in the front squat until somebody throws up. And like, so like the entire team, like that was it. All right, but that's it. Bucket eights. And they would put on something like 80% of their max or something ridiculous. And they would do like an 8x8 of front squats at a ridiculously heavy weight, but they never made it to the 8 set because someone would always throw up before they got there. And I just thought that is like a special kind of like hurting kids.
Yeah, that's child abuse.
Louisiana, it's all good. All right. Blair West, thanks for diving into the wonderful chaos of teaching fresh meat how to move again. If you listened to the entire episode and found yourself arguing out loud, congratulations, you're one of us. Go sign up for the online qualifier for the NorCal Classic. Follow Wes Piatt for coaching and life tips, and buy some coffee from Caffeine and Kilos. Make sure to like and share this episode with a coach who thinks teaching movement standards is optional as long as the vibes are good. And we'll see you next week on Not in My Box.